What happened to the song?
Hey!
Oh, you must have heard
Black
the
on
music.
black
Did
on
you hear
black.
our
Black
music?
on black.
I was trying to give
Black
you some
on black on
intro. Hey!
Hey, hey.
Hey! Hey! Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
No
Thank you for
problem.
being a bright spot in a very
Different
crazy,
time.
chaotic week,
Yes.
to say the least.
To say the least, right.
To say the least.
Yes.
So we are excited to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Barry, my name is Neonna. Again.
Neonna.
Yes.
And I'm Jamar.
Hey,
Thank
Jamar,
you.
how are you, bro?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, man. Pleasure to meet you.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So we kind of just want to jump right on in.
Okay.
So as far as I know, you started off as a comedian. You were doing
Yes.
stand-up comedy, and then you transitioned into acting. So what made you want to transition from comedy to acting?
Well, I've always believed they went hand in hand because I've always been a big fan of Martin Lawrence and then, looking at Eddie Murphy's career. So in my mind, it always was together. Stand-up came along with the acting aspect because of the person I admired greatly in that stand-up world. So to see his acting and then to see his stand-up, it was all like, oh, I want to be that. You know what I mean? I didn't know I even wanted to be a comedian. I just know as I was younger, I wanted to be Martin Lawrence. I didn't even know I would be all of this. So as I started to do stand-up, I always thought film and television would be a part of that journey, if that makes sense. So I've always aspired to do acting. When I initially did stand-up, that was always the goal.
That was always in the back of your mind.
Yes, to navigate to that. That's why after doing stand-up for 2 years, I moved to Los Angeles because I ultimately wanted to be a part of film and television.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So to those guys or gals, it doesn't matter, who are interested or have a passion for comedy and they want to do acting, how hard is it? Can you kind of give them a little bit of insight on what it takes to really do what you're doing?
Well, to do it, to be consistent with it and to stay after it, I believe is the challenge. Like with anything comes challenges and just discouragement and just people saying no. And I just believe to stay after it is the challenge. To do it may not be so hard because you can always pick up stuff and put it down, but to stay going after it is what becomes the challenge. And my words of advice or 2 cents to give that person with just when you truly believe something, to never give up, to really put the work in, make sure you're doing all within your power to help you get to the goals you see for yourself, and to never stop. And don't allow circumstances or moments of things not going the way you would want them to go to stop you from continuing going. You know what I mean? And to believe beyond what you may see in that moment or feel in that moment, that dreams really do come true, and the things that you envision for yourself, it can really happen for you. And it's not just a saying, it's true.
It's true. You have to speak it into existence, and you have to be consistent. That's really awesome advice. Thank you.
No worries.
Absolutely. One of the things I was actually going to ask you, but you kind of hit on it already, were who were some of your inspirations? I heard you mention Martin. And Murphy.
Oh my God.
Of course, those are GOATs. But now I would love to know, who would you love to work with in Hollywood? Who would be like
Whoopi Goldberg?
Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah.
Wow. I would never thought that.
That was unexpected. I would never have guessed.
Man, when you watch Whoopi, it's many more people I would love to work with, but Whoopi to me is such a talent. I don't think people see how multifaceted she is as a stand-up, as a dramatic actor. Her timing, I just love every movie she's ever done. I was just like mesmerized. That she's not even. She's on The View now and she's chilling, enjoying her life, but like she's an amazing actress and actor, stand up. She has so much. So she's someone I would love to work with. Absolutely love to work with.
That is a great answer. I want to work with Whoopi Goldberg.
What's your favorite Whoopi movie?
I would say it's this movie called Eddie, but I'm not gonna say that.
I know what Eddie is.
You remember Eddie?
All the time.
I'm not gonna say go. Okay, I have so many to pick from. I'm gonna say the popular one. I'm gonna say Sister Act.
That's yeah.
I'm gonna say Sister Act because of the other elements that came into play. You know, yeah, I think it was the message. You know, this woman coming from this very, criminal background, and the heart she has, and I just like the layers of that story. So I would say that.
That is good. That's really good. Sister Act 1 or 2?
2, right.
See, you can't have a 2 without a 1.
Okay, you're right.
So it's hard to say 2 because the foundation was set for the 1. You know what I mean?
But 2 had Lauryn Hill.
Right. And Shirley Ralph.
Come on now.
But I'm just saying, without one, they don't even get the opportunity to do 2.
All right. We'll give it to you on a technicality.
So I'll say the franchise, the Sister Act franchise, because it's 1.
Okay.
But Lauryn Hill definitely brings some pressure to it, for sure.
Definitely.
Because vocally, that was a whole nother type of performance.
At the end of the movie, when the choir, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Come join chorus. Oh,
my chorus.
So you're on Tyler Perry's newest show on BET Plus.
Yes.
Could you tell the viewers more about the show and your character?
Definitely. Well, Bruh, as if anybody doesn't know, is about these 4 friends, very close friends. They call this entitled Bruh because, we know Bruh means like a brother, hood, like a family type of dynamic that we all share from college. And 3 of the 4, Bill, Tom, and Mike, has gone on after college to be very successful in their careers. And they're battling relational situations as most people do around the 30s, the early 30s, trying to find your way in relationships. And John, my character, had some trouble in college and didn't finish, is still trying to find himself as it relates to his career and his stability in life and his identity. So he's stuck, and he's got loaned some money from his friends and his mom to open up the sandwich shop, which is doing okay. And he's trying to win. He's trying to find that win in life for himself and going after it however he can. He feels like everybody's looking at him like a person who's looking for a handout, and he's just trying to find who he is and define who he is in this world that exists around his mom and his friends.
Okay.
So was that well said?
Yes.
Yeah, very well said. That's why I said I'll be tuning in. I gotta.
Yeah, and it's a dramedy. It's a dramedy.
Yeah.
So I love dramedies because I believe that it brings that authenticity to real life, but it's that laughter. And for the African American story, I think that's all our lives. I think we have so much struggle, but we have so much laughter.
And we're always able to turn our pain into laughter.
Exactly. And that's what I love about us.
Yes.
We're resilient in that way, man. So it's a piece of that for sure.
Yeah.
What was it like auditioning for Tyler Perry?
Man.
I'm so curious about that too. I'm so curious because I feel like in a lot of Tyler Perry movies and TV, he recycles like a lot of the same people over and over again.
I hope you stay with it because I want to be recycled in that way.
Right.
So I pray that he's still about that life. But anyway, so I've been doing this for a minute. So when I got the call that Tyler Perry, we got the opportunity to audition. I just tried to prepare like I do for all the other auditions that I've recently done, just going in there, bringing myself to the thing. So my first audition was with the casting director, which was Kim Coleman. Shout out to her, amazing Black casting director that's doing amazing things in the industry for us. And so then the second, if you pass that one, then you get to go with the producer session. And this was the first time I get to audition for Mr. Tyler Perry. So to tell you the story, I walk in the room, he's sitting down, he's like, how you doing? So you're trying to, like, as an actor, for me, I'm trying to keep out my mind what opportunities this can bring, who this is. I don't want to put that in my mind because it can really
mess you up.
Really help your performance, right? Because you put too much weight on you, you'll be like, you don't know what to do. And so the most uncomfortable thing for me at any audition in my life was this one, because I'm reading with the casting director, which is Kim Coleman, and Tyler Perry is sitting right under her. She stands up. I'm like 6-8 feet away from them. So it's really far away to really give a real feel connected to the other performer that I'm reading with. So, and I'm trying not to look at Mr. Perry because he's like right here, and he's like 6'4". So even though he's sitting down, half his head is still right there next to her paper. So I just try to connect with her eyes and just zone in. You know what I mean? Like try to connect. And everything, I'm trying not to look at him to see how he's reacting, because this man is just staring into my soul at this point.
Burn a hole.
Yes. So I just rocked it, and I tried to be in the moment. So once I got into it, I wasn't as conscious because I was trying to be into the moment. So he was just like, thank you, and that was it. And I walked out. And as a comedian, I don't like that. I don't like auditioning because there's no real feedback. As a comic, you know it's something funny off bat. You know what I mean? You say what you say, and you hear
and
it.
people laugh, right?
Exactly. So when you hear, okay, thank you, you're like, oh shoot, I did good. He's like, oh, what happened? You be want to ask questions, looking at people's face to see if you see some improvement or something. So
looking into their eyes, looking at their
so I left. Yes. So I tried to play it cool, left. I got a call to come back. They was calling me like, where you go? It's like, hey, they want you back. So I'm almost at home. I drive, turn around, come all the way back. They start taking pictures with certain people. So they seemed like they liked who they liked, but I kept staying there for John. So they were switching the other characters in and out. So nobody was switching me out. So that was a positive note. Yeah. So they just taking pictures. So then in between this time, Mr. Tyler Perry opens up the studio. It's a big thing about that. He then gets his Walk of Fame. Then we get a call to be pinned. We was pinned for the part, but that don't mean you got it yet.
Right.
Then we get another call to come to audition again.
That's a process.
Oh, yes, it is. So I come in there, so it's other people to read for my part. So the dude from 101, you remember the dude, the light-skinned guy, he was in, I think he was in Coach Carter.
Robert Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got colorful eyes, like
Robert Richard. Yeah.
You know his name.
Yeah.
Robert Richard. Robert Richard.
He was up for the role, and I see him. I'm like, oh no. So I go in there again. It's just Kim again, Mr. Perry, and the producer Mark Swinton, which was one of his right-hand producers, is in the room. And so I do it again. And in that moment, he's like, you good. You'll be hearing a call from us. He says this to me. Mr. Perry says this to me. He says this directly to me. He looks at me as though he was convinced, as though this was the moment to be like, oh yeah, it's your job. This is how he was looking at me. So that was my confirmation, the way he looked. He said, oh yeah, you'll be hearing from us. And so that was the third audition. And then, hence we're here at this point. So yeah, it was an experience. It was great. I walked in the room believing that if it was for me, God was going to allow it to be for me, and not putting the pressure on I didn't have the same pressure the third time, because I got over that this was Mr. Tyler Perry, and that I've been working my butt off to get to this point, and that if it's for me, God's going to allow the blessing to come. And if it's not, it ain't, just go do your best and leave it out there, and then you live with the results. And so I was blessed to get it. Yeah.
That is amazing. I heard an expression before that says there's never no, there's new opportunities. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's very encouraging.
Yes.
Especially hearing no's.
No opportunity.
What was your reaction to finding out that you had been cast as John?
Say one more time.
What was your reaction to finding out that you had been cast?
Oh man. In that moment, it was like a dream come true. It's like I had saw it, right? I've seen and envisioned myself being at this place. Obviously, I didn't know how it would look. I didn't know it would be Mr. Tyler Perry. Opportunity. I couldn't foresee that I would be working with him the way I'm working with him. But it was definitely like, I'll give you an analogy. It's like, I don't know if you've been underwater holding your breath.
Yeah.
And you come up. Like, it was like that.
Yeah.
For me, somebody who's been going after it, it was like, oh my God, it was a breath that I've been waiting to get for so long. So it was definitely that for me. It's a refreshing moment to say, man, all of this have not been in vain. It was definitely for a reason. And this is a reminder that if you keep going after something, it will come. And don't count the days, because who knows the day. Don't think, just believe it will come. Don't worry about when, just know it will. So that'll keep you going after it. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. That just goes to show you again that faith without works is
dead.
Yeah.
You better preach, girl.
You know, I'm telling you.
You know, Jesus, you better preach.
Prime example.
It's true.
I think everyone wants to know, since, you know, we were clearly not able to go to Tyler Perry Studios, what is Tyler Perry Studios like?
Heaven.
Oh God.
For me, it's heaven, because, and not literal heaven, let's be clear, but to see, I've been auditioning in Paramount Studios, I've been in Warner Brothers Studio, I've been in Disney Studios, I've been in Sony Studios, and I've seen the different actors on the wall and people that's, you know, white actors that's been amazing back in the day. And to see, I ultimately always wanted my own film studio, me personally. And I've been wanting this way before I even knew that Mr. Tyler Perry had one. So for me, when I saw it, man, it just showed me dreams can come true.
Yeah.
I mean, dreams can come true. When you understand that the beautifulness of it, we got to work in the Dream Building. It's called the Dream Building. And I was so inspired by that. Yeah, I was so inspired. That was my building. That's where we shot at. That's where I worked at. All my where I, you know, my dressing room, all that was in the Dream Building. And I was blessed they put pictures of me on the wall from scenes of my show The Last Day. And I cried because my dream was in the Dream Building on the wall.
Right.
And I remember going into all the other movie studios in LA, seeing big actors on the wall, and to see my picture on a wall at this African-American man that's built this empire, to see that my picture made that wall in the Dream Building, it just meant so much to me. So to go around and see the greenery, see the beautifulness of what it is, to see us working, so many of us doing what we love, it was such a blessing to see, man. It's inspirational. You know, it really inspires you and fuels your beliefs that, like, whatever you're believing for yourself, it can come true. And I felt that way in being there. This man who slept in his car and didn't have nothing, look at what he's accomplished. Look at what God has blessed him with. So if he can do it for him, he definitely can do it for me and you. Yeah.
Amen. You better preach.
Come on in here this evening.
Come on, Pastor.
So I'm not gonna lie, I actively watch the show. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Oh, there we are.
Somebody called me.
So yeah,
You know how people be calling. I wish you could. Can y'all block people from calling y'all?
Yeah, he put on Do Not Disturb on iPhone.
Okay. I gotta learn how to do that. I don't know if I can do it right now. Can I do it right now, or I mess up the thing?
It might pause the video more likely.
Okay, don't worry about it. I will.
Okay. So yes, I actually watched the show, and
thank you so much.
I'm not gonna lie, your relationship with your mom on the show is definitely tough love. How is it working with, you know, a songstress, Chandra? Like, first of all, how's it working with her, but also the relationship with her on the show?
Oh my God. First of all, she's amazing. I love her. Like, you know how you have instant chemistry with someone, and before they even say action, you all just vibe. So I got her number from production way before. I was like, hey, Mom. That's the first thing I called her mom. She's like, what's up, son? This is our first conversation. Had never met her before in life. She's like, hey, son. And since then, I just felt a very motherly son relationship. She's such a sweetheart. She's not mean like that at all. Mr. Perry got saying some outlandish stuff to me.
Yes.
And to see it play back now, to watch it, it was so authentic. It came off so authentic with her. and she was just so good at picking up them lines because he was throwing at her, say this, boom, and she'd hit it. And so it was definitely just enjoyable time, man, a great time. Just felt very easy. Felt very natural. It felt very organic. It didn't feel like we was trying.
Right.
The relationships felt very genuine. All the cast, to be honest with you, all my bros, the ladies on the show, Alyssa and Candace Renee and Caroline, who plays the nurse, like everybody was just so natural with it. It was just such a chemistry when we were all practicing, working on our lines in the room. It was like a family for real. And even shout out to the other show, Ruthless, when they came into film their show, we kind of merged with some of them. It was just such a easy type of thing. It was just everybody was happy for everybody else.
I think that's pretty dope.
It is.
So I would like to know, honestly speaking, are there any similarities between Barry himself and your character that you play on your show, Brett?
Yes, there is some similarities for sure. Like my character John, I have layers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a really nice person, I think, but I have, another side of me. Yeah, we're very similar in some ways. The thing I think I'm not as immature as John, if that makes sense.
Thank goodness. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not as immature as John, and I'm not. I was a child that was on his own early on in life, so I wasn't always, around my mother. I love my mom to death, but I was kind of raised to be my own person and find my own way. So I was out early on my life. I was out on my own around 16, 17 years old, providing for myself. So as it relates to certain level of responsibility, I had it early on. Where for John, he's not the same in that way. But the other characteristics for sure. The nice person, but got this edge about him, like
Yeah,
I can see that.
Because that last episode when you was going off on your bros.
Yeah, actually, I feel like you got a chance to really show off those acting chops. Like, did you feel like, okay, this is my moment? Like, I better act my butt off right here. Like,
and that sounds like a good. I didn't feel that way initially. I was just trying to be connected to that moment, but watching it, I do feel that.
Yeah,
watching it, I was like.
Yeah, it was good.
You did good.
That was
to
really
myself,
good.
And everybody on that scene, on that episode, I was just like, this is the best episode for me because it was just so intense and it's kind of going that way. I like things that start off and go. I don't even like to hit up there. I like this, that climax things. So for me, I just love that whole episode. But for me, that moment was just me really connecting to the character, me really embracing being in a very uncomfortable situation as he is in that scene. He's taking some drug money. Yeah. His friends has been looking down on him. Now he's in this situation. He got too much pride to now take the money for them after they've been talking about him. His mom, like everybody's just been beating up on him at this point. He's frustrated and he's uncomfortable because of where he is. So trying to embrace all those emotions, and I think it just came off very authentic because I think as a great actor, as I've been studying acting, is just really, really embracing that mentality of where that character is in that moment. Because I don't even use profanity like that. And if you ever see, I'm a stand-up comic. In my stand-up, I don't even use profanity. So really being in that moment was like not me. It was definitely somewhat me, but
not all the way.
No, but it felt a little like whoa. Yeah, I thought you did an amazing job.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Definitely.
Just from being a fan of BET Plus and being able to watch you and your co-stars, Monty, Matt High, you guys all kind of really seem to have like a real vibe. You kind of talked about that earlier, a real vibe offset. So working together, what does that bring to the table when you have those funny scenes? Like, is it hard to keep it together? Or when you have those intense emotional moments, does it help that in real life you have that bond?
Definitely. Having a real bond outside of the shooting just makes it clearly comes across, like, because the chemistry. So if somebody misaligned or if a moment it's just the connection that you kind of flow with each other, even when it's not on the paper. You know,
Right.
you could be in a moment where you just feeling it and that person just rolling with you. It was the scene with me and Mike that just happened on episode 7. It was a moment. We had different shots that we got, but it was a moment where me and him just went in to each other and almost got into a fight. Whoa. Because, you know, and it was intense. And it wasn't necessarily what Mr. Perry wrote, but it was just great. Like, we was like intense in that moment. And we was hoping that, I mean, they had different options as editors to take, and they did a great job, not to take away from that. But it was a scene where we was just in the moment, and it was a chemistry thing that we just flow with each other. So I definitely think that translates and helps definitely on screen when you have an honest chemistry with someone off screen. Can I say this real quick? At 7:30, I'm going to have to jump off for like a minute and then jump back on. If that's okay, I will come back on so we can, if somebody got questions and things like that. I'm supposed to be doing a Fox Soul interview, but they need to do just a visual, and then I can come back and finish our interview. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
We would love that.
I appreciate y'all. Okay, so we can go. We got 3 more minutes, and then I'm gonna jump off, jump back on. Okay, cool.
So what I want to really ask you is, you know, joining the limited holy grail of shows that celebrates Black brotherhood. Like, how does that feel? Because if you really think about it, there's not really a lot of shows in the past that have had 4 guys who are friends, you know, and telling about their stories. Like, honestly, the only one I can think of is probably like Noah's Ark. But other than that, I don't really remember a lot of shows that even celebrated or showed Black brotherhood. So how does it feel like being added to that list?
Oh man, it's such an honor and a pleasure to be a part of some media, a television show that promotes Black men in a positive way. Obviously, we have our different layers as men, period, but to see Black men doing well in their careers, they're not necessarily playing basketball or a drug dealer. I mean, we see a drug dealer in there, but you know what I mean? they're just successful men, you know, living regular lives as we all do in different cultures, but to be able to see Black men promoted in that normal way that should be normal, but it's not so much for us to be a part of that. It's just an honor, bro. And it's a pleasure. And I'm grateful for Mr. Tyler Perry for writing something like this. And I'm grateful to be able to be one of the people to be a part of it, man. And working with that amazing cast of people, I can't applaud them enough of how all of them are really great people off screen. And it really pours into the screen, on screen, because that's really, you know, they're really good people.
Awesome.
Okay, well, I guess we can kind of let you get prepared for your next interview.
I'm going to just get off 2-3 minutes.
There we go.
Hi.
Got it. Hey, back. Thank you all. Sorry, forgive me for that.
No problem. No worries.
Thank you for coming back to chat it up with us. And just going to wrap it up here pretty soon, but we just had a few more questions for you. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay. So before we left off, we were talking about bruh, but I did want to kind of, I'm going to kind of look closer. I did want to kind of switch it up for a second.
Little bit. Let me hold you, baby. Okay.
Right there with you. We're going to switch it up and talk about games people play.
Yeah.
Another great show that you are a part of. Can you tell us a little bit about that show?
Yes, that was my first television show. Shout out to Tracy Edmonds and Vanessa Middleton and the creators and all the people that came together. But yeah, man, games people play. Robbie Reed was the casting director of that, who I have to give a big shout out to, who brought me in front of them. Same challenge. Just believe in track, and I did a short film where Robbie Reed was there to see it at a screening, Indie Night, Black Indie Night, or Black Film Indie Night. Is that how you say it? But it's a thing they do at the Chinese theater. A guy named Dave Brown, shout out to him, who puts this together and invites different, you know, casting directors, filmmakers out. And anyway, from that, I got to meet Robbie Reed, got to develop a relationship with Robbie Reed. She sent me, I was up for the role of, for the New Edition story for Ricky Bell.
Yes.
And I didn't get that. Shout out to Elijah Kelly. He did a great job. I got called in to do this other show, to do audition for it. Basically auditioned for Robbie, stayed around the same day, ended up testing the same day in front of Tracy and the whole team. and they gave me the part, and you know, got to work with Lauren London and Saronis and Jackie Long and Karen over. Yeah, man, everybody. Kendall, everybody. So it was really fun. It was really unique. It was just it was a lot easier than bruh, because I wasn't the main guy. So you know, you got to kind of chill in the trailer and kick it and mess with people and eat and chill. You weren't always on set. You know what I mean? So it was really great, man. And we actually was supposed to be filming season 2 right before COVID hit. So we were already in the works to do that. So season 2 had been greenlit, and we was about to go after it. So it was fun, man, playing the IT guy, being something I didn't even know I could ever play an IT guy. I've never looked at myself as this very studious guy, but I guess as I'm pulling back the layers, as I was saying, I'm seeing like, oh, that's in there. Who knew?
You definitely did a great job with playing Eric. I watched the show as well, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, the last episode was like, oh my gosh, like, so it's definitely a great job, for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I don't take it lightly. I'm grateful, man. I just tell people, man, I'm so grateful to have the opportunities. It's one thing to have the gift to do things. It's another thing to have the opportunity. It's a lot of gifted people out here, man. So any opportunity I'm able to show my gift, man, I'm grateful. So thank you for that. But yeah, it was a great journey. Fortunate part is, unfortunate part that Nipsey passed. I was able to be on set with his son like every other day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lauren would bring his son to set. Nipsey came to set the last day, and I wasn't there the last day. And I think about a month and a half, he left us. So you know, it was definitely a journey, man. And working with Lauren London was cool, and you know, all that came with that. And that was kind of the saddest part of it, because she couldn't really enjoy it coming out. You know, she couldn't really, you know, she was just, you know, really going in and of it, you know, losing somebody you're with all day, every day.
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine either, you know. So my condolences to her and the family. But yeah, man, so it was a journey, man, and hopefully we can get back to season 2 and bring it to life.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely, because we need to find out what happened.
What's going on?
What happened?
Were you able to keep some of those relationships that you formed with some of the cast from that show? Lauren London, Parker Posey, who is not so little anymore.
At all.
At all.
Yes. I'm pretty much got a relationship with all of them. Lauren, I don't like talk to her like that. My relationship is not as close to her as it is with everybody else, but I have a contact on her, and I could, you know, reach out to her. Obviously, we talked to her early on when it happened, and from there, kind of just let things settle. I developed a relationship with Tiny, T.I.'s wife.
Oh, yes, because she was on there with Marlo, right?
Yeah, Marlo. I developed a relationship with her. She was super cool. Me and Kendall got real close. Karen, my girlfriend on the show, Monty, who plays.
Yes. We're gonna actually bring that up. That this is your second time working with Monty.
Working with Monty,
man,
it's really dope. And me and him connected on that show. Outside of the show, we definitely vibe. You know, outside of the show, he's a really great guy who supports people. He really supports people outside. I don't know if you know, he's a foster child, and he's very, you know, he's a motivational speaker, and he's very supportive of people. You know, he's always trying to make sure people know that they have his support, man. And I really admire that. Like, he came to my show, like I had a show like next week, and he was there by himself, like, hey, I'm here to support you.
That is amazing.
They're in the audience, there to support me, man. So since then, we've always had a great relationship, and then we were blessed to be working together again as the brothers. So,
So kind of talking back, or kind of piggybacking off of games people play, I kind of want to know, what do you believe is the difference between infatuation and love?
That's a great question. Infatuation to me is not in any substance. It's kind of like it's one-sided, right? To me, infatuation is like obsessed with whoever it is. it's the idea of having them. It's not the realistic thing that comes with it. Infatuation to me is like, I'm trying to give a great example. It's like really wanting something, but not for real.
Right.
Right? It's the idea of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm so infatuated with her until you see her flaws, until you see where she's not whole at. So they're like, no, thank you. You know what I mean? You were just infatuated with some aspects of who she was or how she looked or whatever the case, or how he looked or who you thought he was, the idea of that person sometimes. And then love to me is you're there for all of it. You're there for the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're trying to fight through it all, and you want to see that person happy ultimately, even if it's them not being with you. Right. You can truly love somebody. Infatuation, it's all about you and how you feel about it. It's not about how that helps the other person. That's
that's a great definition, and I think you might have stepped on my toes a little bit.
I'm sorry.
I thought I wasn't up.
Maybe.
No, but I want to ask you, so which character do you think struggles the most with deciphering the difference between infatuation and love?
On
bruh or
bruh,
yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. Infatuation and love.
Because I have an answer, but I'll wait till you answer.
I know what you're gonna say too. And I'm trying not to think of knowing the whole story. I think you probably wouldn't think this, but I think the nurse is infatuated with Tom.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, for sure.
So I think she's the most infatuated because she don't even know who he is, and she's like, "Oh, I would think about our kids together." What? You don't even know me. You don't even know if you want to have a child with me. You don't know if I even like kids or if I'm nice to kids because I'm a doctor. I'm just doing my job, lady.
Right.
I know you probably will say Bill. Am I right? No. Okay. I thought you was gonna say Bill, but I would say her. I think everybody else. I don't think anybody else is infatuated. I think they know what they want, but they don't. I think most people on the show, like especially the three characters that are dealing with the relationship issues, more so Mike and Bill, I think that they think they know what they want, but they don't. And these women that they've entertained, I think, has a bigger piece of them that they may want to be honest about.
I like that. I like that answer. Yeah. Did he hit it on the head for you?
Yeah.
I think so too.
I don't think I did. Yeah, maybe not.
Okay, so I really want. So, do you remember when I think it was a hashtag or it was a meme or it was on a T-shirt? It was going around and it said hashtag Black men don't cheat. Like there was this whole like funny bit going on about it, which is great. But I would really love to know your opinion. What is like one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to Black men and the way that they love? Why?
That Black men are not compassionate and sensitive, I think is a very big stereotype. When the Black men don't cheat, like I would never put everybody in one box and say they don't do this or that they do this. I would never do that because that's just ignorance. I always do that. So I would never put anybody in the box. But I think a misconception is that we are not great fathers, that we're not present fathers. I think that's a misconception. As a father who's been in custody court at one point for 7 years consecutively, I've seen so many great fathers. I've seen so many fathers trying to fight for a presence in their child's life. And it was just like, you couldn't have told me, like, you said, ain't no Black fathers. And I'm looking and seeing fathers sitting there in court in California, in Chicago. I'm like, wow, it's a lot of us, you know? So I think that narrative has changed. It's a misconception that we're not sensitive and compassionate and, you know, we don't cry. Those are the ones that comes to mind right now.
Yeah, I think speaking for most Black women, like we know that a lot of those are misconceptions. Like, it's the world that perceives Black men as scary, honestly. scary. They are afraid of Black men. And it's really evident in what's going on in the world today.
It is true. And I want you to understand this. I think that there's been a general narrative for a reason. I believe that the powers that be, the most important thing in all of this society is about power. You know what I mean? It's often about power. As you look at it in entertainment, as you look at it in the political world, it's about the power structure. And even if you look in the systematic ways they handle like food stamps and Section 8, like if the father is there or the man is there, they pull the money away from the woman because they don't want the man to be present. We'll help you if the man's not present. But why would we help the family structure if they, so the fact that you have your man living there, who's the child's father, like this seems like the government like, oh no, we won't help you then. So it would seem like they're encouraging the separation of the Black man or the man in the home. So I think it's because of power structure. I think that when you look back in the 60s and the times where family structure was a lot stronger in the Black community, I think we had more leadership, we had more togetherness, we had a lot more. We were able to get things done as a unit. We moved together. You know what I mean? You see that the men and children that came from those families were productive, were surgeons. They were able to build the Black Wall Street. They were really making change and really progressing. So I believe the narrative is to keep that narrative what it is, for people to be afraid, for the Black man to be, you know, depicted in that. And I don't want to say, oh, it's all the man's fault, because I think that we can help that narrative change. But I do believe that it's about power. It's the power structures, it's the powers that be that don't want us to become in power. Because the more we see who we are and the more we embrace that and to get together, that's scary. That's why Martin Luther King was scary. That's why Malcolm X was scary, because of the power and the influence they had over their community and how people listened to them. That was dangerous, because now if you get to know who you are, whoever's in power, watch out.
I'm telling you, and that's what we need to do. I feel like right now, as a Black community, we need to take this time that we have, this period that we're in, get to know our history, get to know where we really came from, because our history goes back further than slaves. We are not descendants of slaves. And anybody who's watching, I'm telling you right now, if you're Black, you were not just a descendant of a slave. That's what we were taught in school. But I think that we should all use this time to study our history, understand who you are and the power that you have. And then you will honestly start to understand why you're looked at the way you're looked at, because everybody else can already see it. They already see the power. They already sense the strength. That's why we're in this situation, because they don't want you to know that, you know.
Remember, last time we were together, actually, we were at a table together, and we were just saying, Black people, we give off a different kind of aura, a different kind of energy, that sometimes people just, even without even knowing, they just are intimidated by the energy that we give off. And I just feel like that's what it is we just give off a natural energy that some people just don't know how to deal with it. So.
And that's unfortunate for them.
So,
you know. But we're going to keep thriving and striving and staying after it and not giving up, and having people like you all to keep pushing the narrative and open the conversations up, and to bring perspective to the people that may not have a broader perspective of who we are, and to continue to do Black film and television to give a different narrative of that we have multiple, we're multifaceted. We have a lot of different parts of us. And so I'm grateful for that, man. I'm grateful for that narrative, and I'm grateful for y'all having me on here too. Thanks.
Definitely.
We're grateful for you joining us tonight. We do want to kind of ask if any of our viewers maybe have a few questions for you before we wrap it up. I think I saw a few in the comments.
Yes, I see one. What was the last movie that impacted your life or caused you to re-examine your life?
That's a great question.
That is.
Shoot. Movie. My memory terrible. Because I always remember the last movie I said. What was the last great movie? I'm trying to think of something more like really that's changed my thought of life. Like,
There's just so many. There's just so
There's
many.
so
I do want to
so
see
many
the one
movies.
that recently is about to come out, I think, or it did already. Just Mercy with Jamie Foxx.
Yes, Mercy was a great. I saw that movie. Definitely saw that movie. I have to get off here to get on another interview, but yeah, that movie definitely. I wouldn't say changed my life because I've seen so many movies along those lines. African American man who's dealt with so many injustices on my own personal life. I think that, you know, sometimes I don't watch as many of those movies as everybody else because it can be challenging as you try to navigate the world.
Yeah.
And be a black man going out here and have to intertwine, because the one thing I love and I want to push is that we can't put everybody in a box. And as bad as police brutality is, we can't look at every cop that wears a badge and says they're bad, because we're only becoming who they are to us, looking at every black person and saying, oh, you're a thug, you're a criminal. And I was just telling someone that it's like, we can't become that. We can't become that mentality. We got to judge people on that. But there is a narrative that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed to the people that's policing and looking over the people they should have a much strenuous price to pay when they do them things that they've been doing. They should be scared. They should be treating us well. They should be scared the way they treat people. And then laws need to change so that can help that narrative. So, you know, and I hope with the bad cops and the bad people in that bunch, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So
another time.
Man, I wish we could keep going. I could just listen to you.
I'm more than free. If y'all want to jump back on here after I get off, I'm good. I ain't got nothing to do. It's just that obviously with the show, a lot of interviews are coming in, and I'm grateful for that. But if y'all are open to jump back on later or whenever y'all free, we can do this.
We would love to rearrange or arrange something.
Yes, for sure.
When y'all want to do it?
For another time.
Yes,
okay.
Well, we appreciate you.
No problem.
Appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you so much. Shoot me a DM today of what time and things, and we can get one tonight. We can lock in another day and time, and I would love to do it. And there won't be no interruptions. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
So if you open tonight or tomorrow, let me know.
Have a good night.
Thank you all. Appreciate you. Look forward to talking soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.